And we're live.
Hey everybody, welcome back to. Oh wait, that's the wrong show.
You got me. All right. Welcome everybody to tonight's episode of Dock Tales, a fisherman's story. Joining us tonight is Roger Demint of Muskrat Adventures and the River Warriors. Welcome, Roger.
Hey buddy, what's
Thank
up?
you for being here.
Hello,
Hey, Roger.
Tom. Hello,
Hey, Tom.
Jody.
Hello, Miss Jody.
Howdy.
Jody, looks like we're already starting to chat's starting to roll. Can we go through a little bit of that before we get started?
Okay. Let me scroll back to the top. We got Avid Fisherman, CVA, Carmel Muncie, Chrissy Brown, My Girl Catfishing with Cause. Then we have Annette Morgan, Scott Swift, Want to Be Outdoors. I don't know who that is. Maybe Matt.
Some guy named Matt. Yeah.
Yep.
Some guy named Matt. And let's see, Melissa, my sister, and somebody named Creo,
Real.
who happened to take everybody's co-host job.
He's a legend.
Mm-hmm. He stole it out from all of us.
Oh, now didn't nobody want that job?
Whiskers and stripes. I ain't tying nobody out. David Smith. Then let's see. It's All Mine, which is Michelle.
Yep.
And Take Down Catfishing, Kenneth.
Kenneth, did you get Chrissy?
Christy Brown, in case I didn't, and Kevin Baker, tag you're it. And you have to play.
All right, welcome everybody, and thank you for coming in. Appreciate y'all. Here's Dave Garshar. Hope I'm saying that right.
Chucky
And
Morgan
Carmel
coming
Muncie.
up for him.
Yep. Okay, why don't we get started? If we missed anybody, we're sorry. There's Joy. Welcome, Joy. Roger, normally we begin the show discussing early recollections of fishing, but you have some exciting news you revealed last night. Would you like to talk about that first?
We're talking about my new co-host.
And your new format? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we've got some. Me and Crow been talking back and forth about some new things, some new ideas coming into the next year. We're going to be starting a segment called Deep Dive, where we're going to take, I'm horrible about it, but when I'll try to go and explain things or talk about something, a method of fishing, I catch myself when I go back and look, I kind of jump forward and assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about. And so we're wanting to take it down and slow it down and just really kind of get detailed on individual topics. Just, one night, just deep dive into one thing. So, one night it might be planer boards, or one night it might be dragon baits or suspend drifting, all these different things that we do and different tactics and techniques. We're going to start calling a segment Deep Dive. And we've been reaching out to some folks. We've had an exciting day for guests. We're going to line up for this next season. So I won't let the cat out of the bag yet, but we got some good ones coming. Committed today. We've got dates. We've already got people locked into dates and stuff. So as I'm working with these folks, I'm kind of giving them the choice whether we can just do a broad chat and just come on in and let people fire away, or if they would like to participate in a deep dive and talk specifically about something they're passionate about. So really excited about it. Creole is fantastic. I was so excited when he said that his schedule had changed and he would be able to join me on Tuesday nights. I hate that, he had to leave Stan. That was a great duo there, and he will for always be the broadcast brother for Stan. But went through Stan first and got his blessing before we made the decision. And so super excited. We're like two little kids. We've been messaging each other back and forth all day. Like, oh yeah, what about this? We've already got next week's show lined up, and I've got the thumbnail completed. I got to get it scheduled, but next week's show will be all about GPS. That is a field that Jeremy has been in for over 20 years. And there's a lot of things that he knows about GPS positioning and how to get a better accurate location read, whether it be on your boat and your phone or whatever that may be. So next week's show is going to star and highlight Creole and let him kind of showcase some of the knowledge he's had built up over the years as it pertains to GPS. So
that's great.
We're excited.
I saw a video earlier this year that I thought was really cool. One of Mike Greenwell's videos where he added in the mapping of where he had got his bites and the reasons why. And I thought that was pretty cool. That's something you don't see a lot of. I like to be able to see, if you're on the river and your bunts, your guests really don't know what you're seeing, unless you're showing them the graph. And I thought that was a cool thing to add in because it explained what he was doing and, made sense.
Yeah.
So how long have you been thinking about having a co-host?
Just the last couple months, to be honest. I was thinking about the new year and I was thinking about things I wanted to change and try. I thought it was time to spice it up a little bit and try some new things. To be completely honest, there's so much competition out there, and to be relevant and to be, competitive with all the other live streams, channels and things out there, you gotta evolve and be willing to change and adapt. And I thought, well, it's time for a change. What would I like to do? And we've got some great ideas between the two of us, and the co-host thing, it's kind of like I kind of went back and forth on it, to be honest with you. And Creole has always been one of my top picks out of everybody. A lot, there's some good guys, Skip and Zach, both would be an easy choice. But their schedules don't always allow them for that type of commitment. And I've talked to other folks in the past. I know J-Dog was hollering about it, but I've talked to him a while back, and it's just not something he's wanting to do. But Creole's been always at the top of my list. I was jealous when Stan got him. I was like, man, I would like to have Jeremy, man. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a fun deal. He's a lot like myself. On screen and off screen, we got a lot in common, and I think he's going to be a blast to hang out with. And hopefully, before too long, our paths will cross in person, and we'll get to do some fishing together. That's my goal.
Well, I think he was a great choice, and just to show my support, Jeremy. There you go. If you can see it.
Yeah, I got to get one. I got to get one.
Yep.
Or I got to get some. I got to get some muskrat hats made. I'm way behind the ball there. But
is that the merch you have, or have you started getting into anything down the road?
I honestly, I do have a Teespring store set up. I've just never launched it. I don't know. I guess in a way, I just kind of felt like, there was just much bigger channels and to support and, better deserving people out there. But I am going to kick it up this year. I'll be launching it. I got a few more things to look at, but I'll be launching it within the next month or so.
Great.
So it'll get people that, if they want to purchase and support the channel, then great. And if not, no harm, no foul. Everyone's got a different financial situation, and I wouldn't look down on anybody that couldn't afford it. I'm in the middle of tough times myself, to be completely honest. So no expectations, that's for sure.
Was there any chance that you have a coffee mug in the new store?
Oh yeah, there's one in there.
Excellent. That's my gig. I said I have probably over 20, maybe 25 mugs from the community right now. And every time I see a new one that I don't have, I try to grab it. And my reasoning is, how many hats can you wear in 7? I have coffee every single morning. So I have a different cup every morning. And it's like if I get one, if you have yours available and when I get it, that will be the cup I use on Tuesday mornings when I wake up. because that's the night of your show. I try to link all my, like Stand Day, obviously. Sunday is Stand Day. But then again, that's Palmetto Day and Green Machine when he fishes with Stan. So I got all three of those mugs. And it's like, which one am I going to? It's getting tough as I start to get more and more of them. But that's my little thing. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. Well, so far, we really don't have any competition on Tuesday night. But we got Kelly, the Bullock Experience at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But outside of that, nobody following me yet.
Yeah, I was a guest on Kelly's show. Aaron and I. Yep, we had a good time doing that.
Yep, he does a good job with it. He gets a lot of different folks.
He does,
He does not. He's not intimidated by any name or in the business. He will go after everyone, big and small. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's had Epic, Lyle. Yeah, he's he's had some of the bigger names in the community for sure.
Absolutely.
Jody, are we missing anybody? I think I'm seeing some new people coming in, including Laura the Explorer. Welcome, Laurie.
You got Mike's Fishing Home come in, my CFF, Dewey Cooter, Brad Cadell, Tina Ladybug, Fields to Water, and Laura the Explorer, you said her, Fishing and Freedom, David Smith, Sandy, Tim Molina, somebody named Freddie. Don't know how he got here. Then we got Lisa Elliott and Catfish Regulators.
She just lost work because she got hit with a hammer earlier.
Did she?
No, you did. From Freddie.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, I thought you meant somebody hammered Lisa. That wouldn't be cool.
Big John, and Whiskers and Stripes.
All right.
George Quoutman Curtis just come in.
All right, welcome everybody. If you guys do have questions, please try to put like a big red question or something so that we see it. Sometimes I get involved in the conversation and they slip by. So please try to make them so that we can grab them.
And there's Van. He come in.
There he is.
And KY Redneck.
Yep.
Just jumped in. All right, I think we're caught up.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Avid wants to know, Freddie, did you hammer Jody?
That was in another show, but we're gonna try not to do that anymore.
Yeah, we don't do that here. The only ones we block here are the trolls. All right. So let's get back to it, Roger. What is your earliest memory of fishing?
I'll be honest, my dad, good and bad, but my dad used to take me. We rented an old farmhouse when we were little, and the landlord had a farm of his own, and he had a big pond on it, and we'd catch bluegills and stuff out of there. And my dad used to take me to that pond, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't sleep the night before. Dad couldn't even tell me. He couldn't even tell me we were going fishing the next day because I would barely sleep. I'd be in there trying to wake him up, So my fondest memory, or earliest memory is that. But at that same pond, they had to cross an electric fence. And as a little boy, I wasn't quite tall enough to clear the fence.
Uh-oh.
That memory's scarred too. So
hopefully not a lasting scar.
Yeah. I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Have you patterned the cold water cats? Got them figured out, or do they move in the river too much to pattern? It really does all depend on the current. Right now on the Ohio River, we are blown out. We are almost maximum capacity when it comes to the dams. So the fish are not in normal moving patterns right now. Most of the fish are blowing up on the banks, on the inside bends, back eddies, and up in creeks. As the water recedes and goes back down and reaches normal pool, then the fish will probably move up and move towards their wintering holes. The most productive wintering holes that we have are generally next to shallow flats, where on a sunny day or a creek, a big hole next to a creek or in front of a creek, they can get up in there and feed without wasting a lot of energy, because part of their livelihood is conservation, and they try to they don't want to run 2 miles up to the dam to get a bite to eat. They would rather be close. So But pretty much my method is, where do I think the bait is? And that's where the fish are going to be. So right now the bait's all blown up in the creeks, on the banks, and then getting out of the fast water that we have.
Now, do you all have a shad die off like we have here in the winter?
We do, but not, in the lakes and stuff, not in the river.
Right.
But we'll have some. We'll have some on the lakes for sure, and then some of the smaller creeks and stuff that shallow enough to get that cold. We'll have some. What rig do you use for all year fishing? Most of my rigs are the Santee rigs. Most of mine are either Santee or a Kentucky rig. Just about all of them. I don't like to. I used to be a big fan of the sinker slide, but I got away from that. I decided I didn't like the sinker slide. I like to put my weight directly on the line now. And the reason for that is because I do run a float. And what happens is when you got that line out there and you got a sinker slide and your sinker's here and your line's coming out and your bait's up here floating, and then the boat swings and pulls it over here. And then the boat swings back where your sinker stays there and you got all this loose line. So now your bait's up here or up here or up here. You don't really know where your bait is. Whereas if you keep it connected to it, it might drag it over here, but it's still staying right here wherever you originally thought it to be. So I don't know how much of an effect that really has, but that's just the way my brain works. That's where I've been catching my fish, on a flat between the Klein of Deeps and Cove. Yep. Yeah. Flats next to deep water is always, year round, is a good area to check. Especially for flatheads. Flatheads love to hold up in the daytime on a deep hole next to a big shallow flat, and then they'll come up and feed at night. Roger, I'm late. I'm here to support you, brother. Hey, Danny, thank you so much for stopping in.
Yeah. Now, I got away from the sinker slides only because when we fish the dock, you have to make an extremely long cast to get to the drop off to the ledge. And I find with the sinker slides, when you cast them, it'll slide up the line, and then you'll get like a pendulum effect, and it cuts down your distance. So I've gone back to the egg sinkers and the no rolls. I mean, I like them; they're functional, but just not when we're fishing here.
Well, the no rolls and egg sinkers, you got the same effect if they're gonna slide through the line.
They don't appear. They don't do it as much as the no roll. At least the sinker slides that I have, man, they really fly up that line.
I got you. Yeah, that's one of the things I talked to Jody about. She was talking about how to hit that hole back there, and it's one of the things that I tried to work on was, on them long casts. We were playing around one day, and I clipped on a cannonball directly on the line and slung it, and because it was directly in line with the line, every bit of that force and kinetic energy that you sent out there, centrifugal force. That's my big word of the night.
Well, I can tell you, Jody's been practicing, and she's much better, getting much better distance this time than the first time she came.
Yeah, she was trying to show us up on the boat there when me, her, and J-Dog were fishing together. J-Dog didn't mind beating her, so I went ahead and tried to beat J-Dog. So his head didn't get too big.
I would like to play a game.
Jody's having a little.
I always like playing games. Anything I make a competition or a game, I'm going to do it.
Jody, you want to tell them about your casting contest you had when you were here?
I beat you and Aaron.
And so what was the contest?
The contest was who could cast the farthest, and Aaron was silly enough to say best 2 out of 3. As soon as he said that, I knew I had him. So we casted right-handed like you're supposed to, and then I made them cast backwards like a game of horse. However I casted, they had to. And I'm used to cast them backwards and left-handed, and they're not. So they couldn't throw backwards as far as me.
Yeah, you won that one for sure. I'd never done that in my life. I was afraid I was going to put a number 8 circle hook in my forehead. I closed my eyes and put my head down when I cast. I didn't know where that hook was going.
And then left-handed, they couldn't cast as far left-handed as I could. And then Aaron didn't pay up his bet, so everybody needs to remind him about that, because when I lost my bet, I paid immediately.
You jumped right in. We saw it.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely not a sore loser.
Yep. There's a message for you, Jody. Fat Boy and Curtis are ready for the Flathead Catfish tournament, trying a new spot Saturday.
All right.
If you're fishing the Ohio River for flatheads this weekend, you're going to have a hard time. I did see. Go ahead.
No, you're the guest.
No, I seen Curtis had a question there as well. He was asking what my biggest fish was up on Hoover. And so far, my biggest flathead's 42 and my biggest blue's 43.
Cool.
So there's my biggest fish out of Hoover so far.
That's just on that part of the water. That's not your PB.
Yeah, that's just that lake.
Yeah.
PB
Now,
Flatty is 55 and PB Blue is 78.
Wow. That's impressive.
I wouldn't have got that if I didn't leave Ohio. That's I went down there and got the got the bump, and you guys all haven't seen it. That's like the sturgeon story now. I'm not gonna
Well, you said the S word. Hi, Mr. Gadget.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, let's see. Mark's in the house.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Mark?
Howdy,
John
Mark.
Parker.
You got Justin's Fishing Fetish, Whiskers and Stripe, Valerie, Fishing Local 252, Danny Stone made it in, and then Fishing, I think it's Fishing and Freedom come in.
Yep, he had a question earlier, so he's been in there for a minute.
Yeah.
Mr. Gadget says, place a bobber stop on the line 3 to 4 feet up, and it will stop that. That's a good tip. Excellent.
Yep.
Let's see.
Then Chrissy Brown had something in there for him.
Yeah, she calls me her sister from another mister.
If you see it, Jody, go ahead and call it out, because I don't see it.
She said, Roger, my sister from another mister. Tag her in it. Jody said you have to play.
The reason for that is I was messaging Ernie and Chrissy one morning, and I got it mixed up. I said I thought I was still talking to Ernie, and I was talking to Chrissy, and I said, "See you later, buddy or brother, and I'll catch you later." And she said, "I'm not a brother." whatever, sister. I'm like, what the heck? So it's been kind of an inside joke. It's fun. I could take it.
Here's a question from your partner. Have Roger tell us about his most memorable bad fishing trip.
My worst fishing trip. Man, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is I think I've told this story not too long ago, but the barge sneaking out on me and my brother that day, and thought we was anchored up at the end of a lock wall. And those barges, when they're 5 long or 5 deep, you could barely hear the motor running back there, especially when they're coming out of the lock, because they're at idle anyway. And barge come out of the lock on idle, and I couldn't hear it. And we was right at the end of the lock wall. Next thing I know, I looked straight up, and there's a barge right next to me. I mean, I had rods out the side of the boat, down rigging, and my rod was scraping down the side of the barge. Yeah, it was bad. I started the motor up, floored it, sucked up my anchor rope, spun me around, thought we were going to sink the boat. It's just, it was terrible. It was the worst fishing trip ever. I'm to this day is the most scared I've ever been on anything in the world. That trip right there scared me the most.
Wow. Yeah, I don't get to fish a whole lot of rivers that have the barges, but I went out one night with Stan and Skin and Scales, and we were fishing, and it was dark. And you were right, that barge was right on us, and we never heard him, never saw him, and all of a sudden he was there, and there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, we weren't in any danger, but he came a lot closer than I would have liked to. If I was in my bass boat, I would have been running, but we just hung on, and then he went by. But yeah, you were right. He was silent.
Yep. People think because they're so big, and when they get past you, they're pretty noisy. But I'm telling you, man, when they're coming up river on you, the engines are facing the back way. Yeah. They're spooky quiet, and it's dangerous.
Quiet man, are you talking catfish? If it's catfish, my PB is a 52.5 blue. If you're talking in general, I've caught an 84-pound bluefin tuna and 125-pound sand tiger shark, and those are probably my two biggest fish. Thank you for asking. I grew up in Massachusetts, but actually the tuna and the shark were off the eastern shore of Maryland. Let's see. Jody, you seeing any other questions?
Mm-hmm. We've had calls come in, catfishing with Curtis calls, or catfishing with calls, not Curtis, and Beck Williams and Kelly Bullock that come in. And I guess we can get started talking about some of the tournaments you do and some of the fishing you do besides just Muskrat Adventures. We'll talk about, you do a kids tournament?
Yep. So far, the only tournament I've hosted so far is the Catfishing for Kids tournament. Last year, I did 2 of those. I did one in June, and I did one on Halloween. And man, I had such a good time. I had such a good time with those. I love seeing kids get out there, and I've had people ask me, he's like, why are you so passionate about the kids? And I said, because I was a kid once. Yeah. And I love the fish. And if there was more things like this going on when I was younger, I would have loved it. And I just really love seeing the kids get out there, and the parents or grandparents or whoever it is, neighbor, it doesn't matter. Somebody taking the time out to get a kid out there on the water. They're the future. And if we get more kids and more young adults into caring about the conservation of catfish, well, they're the ones that's going to be moving up and making those decisions for us when we're too old to. So I just have a real strong connection with kids and veterans. So the other big event I do every year is the Fishing for Freedom event that's out in Quincy, Illinois. And they pay for your hotel and your food pretty much all weekend. And you go out, and if you don't have a vet you can take with you, because if you have a veteran that's a friend or neighbor or whatever, you could sign them up and go out as a pair, and they'll pay for both your stuff for the whole weekend. Wow. It's the first couple, 2-3 years I went, my father-in-law is a Vietnam veteran, and they asked us if we wanted. We met him at CatCon. I don't know how many years ago, the Catfish Conference, and they talked us right into it, and we went out. It's like a paid vacation. We got, we had to pay for the gas to get out there, but the hotel was covered, and a lot of the meals were covered. They gave away all kinds of prizes, and it's just a great organization. And it's really kind of selfish because you get so much out of it for yourself that it almost doesn't even feel like you're giving anything. But I've made good friends this last year. The veteran they paired me up with turned out to be a really cool guy. We still message and talk to each other. We've been friends ever since, share pictures and stories back and forth. So I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So how many years in a row have you done
that? Let's see. I think I'm going on my 5th year.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can go out and fish for catfish, crappie, or bass. You get to choose what category you want to fish for. And first few years I went, my father-in-law, he don't really care too much for catfish. So we fished crappie And I love fishing for crappie, so it wasn't a big deal. And the first year we went, I didn't get a pre-fish. We got there, it stormed. I got a flat on my truck tire, and at the time I had fancy tires and rims on there, and I couldn't find a tire to match. And we didn't get a pre-fish at all. We didn't even see the water until the day of the tournament. We put the boat in and said, well, let's just go fish and have fun. There's no sense in getting worked up about it. We're here to have a good time. Let's go have a good time. We took second. We took
That's
second.
Great.
It was a blast, and we had a good time. We thought we had no chance in the world, and we went to weigh in, and they said, hey, you might want to stick around right now. You've got the most fish and the biggest fish. And we're like, what? Are you serious? And yeah, there was no prizes or money really involved. It was just, they did have trophies and things for the first place, second place, and I think third place at the time.
Wow.
Or they do now, but I don't think at that time they did for second.
Sounds like a great event.
It is awesome. I took Skip and Zach out this year for their first time, and Zach and his veteran took, I believe, second place in the catfish division.
Really? Wow.
That's great.
First time he's ever been out there.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how much they caught?
I don't. It was low. I know that. It was very, very tough fishing for everybody. That pool of water that we're fishing, they give you, I think, 3 or 4 pools to choose from. And they just, it's always the first weekend of June, and it's just not, it just wasn't great action for anybody really that weekend. But they get some big fish on that weekend every now and then.
Cool. So do you have any, are you planning on going to that again this coming year?
Yep. I plan on doing that again. Last year I had a conflict because I also got asked to do a veterans event up on Sandusky. The exact same, pretty much the exact same thing, taking veterans out. I'm hoping this year it doesn't line up with the same weekend as theirs, because I'll do it as well. I do want to come to Patriot James tournament. I'd love to be at that and, just meet everybody and just have a good time and fish some new water. I'm going to try to make it to the Catfish Conference this year. I got a couple things. A couple ducks I got to put in a row to make sure that works. And yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you firsthand, the Patriot James tournament was a blast last year. We went down for that. We knew nothing about it. We got out there. We kind of putted around and we caught some fish, but there was some Johnson, especially D crushed them last year at that event. Yeah. Palmetto was there, Robbie, with those fish that little Robbie caught, and to talk to the veterans and everything that were there and to meet everybody. It was priceless. I couldn't have paid enough money to, it was just what a wonderful time, and it was well worth it. And we're planning on again this year as well.
Yeah, there were some good fish caught out there. So I would love to get my feet wet on it. I'm really competitive, so I'd be out there days early trying to learn the place and not embarrass myself.
Yeah.
You want to take it back to the earlier muskrat and tell us a little bit about you before you started YouTubing and everything, what you did for a living or something like that?
Yeah. So here, I'll just give you a little bit about me. I got 2 girls, my 2 daughters. I got a 16-year-old and a 25-year-old. She just turned 25 a couple days ago. If you guys saw her on Facebook, they're my world. They are such good kids. Everybody thinks their kids are the best, and they're proud of them, and they're the most beautiful kids. Mine are actually the most beautiful kids. So sorry about the. They both like to fish. My youngest daughter does not like to hunt, but she does like to fish, and she's got some nice fish in her time. She's actually living in Georgia right now. Her and her mom, she took a promotion, and it was supposed to be. It's kind of a long story. It's supposed to be in a short thing, and it's turned in a little longer than I'm willing. But I'm gritting my teeth and trying to be understanding and all that. But My other daughter lives, 15, 20 minutes away. I got into catfishing. Honestly, I got a dorky picture somewhere. I think I was 12, 13 years old, and I was catching channel cats. I was using chicken liver and lug nuts to get my bait down there and keep it amongst the fish. And I think at some point I was using some live bait. I love creek chubs, and I caught my first flathead, and it was probably only 12, 13 pounds, but that was it. That was it. That fish right there fought me and just wore me out on my Zebco 33. I thought I was king of the world. And there's a dorky picture of me and my facial expression with that fish. It's on my profile somewhere. I shared it once upon a time. It was embarrassing, but after that, I started wanting to catch big catfish. And, I hate to admit it, but at one point in time, I went to pay lakes. I wasn't educated, and I thought, yeah, man, my buddies are going and they're catching big fish. I want to catch big fish. And I did that for about a year or so. And I finally had a guy say, hey, man, if I get you out on the river and you catch fish out of the river one time and you realize what these guys are doing to catch these fish and how these fish die, you will never do it again. And it took one trip. That's it. We took one trip out to the river, and I was like, I sold all my gear and went straight to river fishing, never went back. And so, that's one of my things. I try not to ever like bash anybody for it. Some folks are just not educated on, they're just misinformed or not educated on the cause and effect and the conservation side of things. And so to me, it's better to teach and, hope for the best than you're never gonna shame somebody into doing something they don't want to do, or you're not going to make them feel guilty. And the best we can do is educate people and let them make the best decision and hope for the best. So,
right. Yeah, it is a shame, what they do. And I get it. For people that can't get out and fish, it is an opportunity. But what the fish go through, it's sad, to think that all those big fish are being taken out of there. And, they're probably dying on the bottom of one of them pay lake ponds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. I remember going by a dumpster and go ahead.
No, you.
I remember going by one of the dumpsters there one day, and it was completely full of trophy catfish, dead maggots and flies. And I was like, that was it. That made me sick.
Yeah, we had, when I was growing up, I grew up near the ocean in Massachusetts, and there used to be huge populations of big bluefish, 15, 20-pound bluefish. And bluefish, if you're not familiar with them, have very sharp teeth. And they're they follow the schools of stripers in the ocean chasing bait. And when people catch them, they hit them with a billy club to knock them out so they can get their lure back. So they end up, you basically kill them when you catch them. And then you would come back to the ramps and there'd be 50 of them laying next to a trash barrel because hey, let's take them. And then, well, we don't want to deal with all these fish. And all of those big bluefish all went away. Now well, I've been around Massachusetts for a while, but when I left, you were lucky to catch a, 14, 15-inch one. They used to be 15 pounds. It's just incredible, the waste. But before you get to Kelly's question, what I was wanting to say was, I remember sometime in the past year, you took your daughter fishing and she caught a heck of a nice fish that you had a picture of. How big was that?
That was 37 pounds.
Wow.
It was 37 pounds. We all had COVID. It was last November. And the whole house had COVID. Actually, she didn't get COVID. I don't know how in the world she never did get it, as far as I know. But she said, hey, we all got COVID and we can't go anywhere anyway. Can we just go fishing? And we loaded up, went out, and feeling terrible, man. We was all feeling terrible, but she wanted to go. So I said, yeah, we'll go. And we got loaded up, got out there, started raining. I'm like, oh, man. And 90 minutes in, she caught like 2 or 3 fish. And then she caught that. Oh, she said, can we go? I want to go catch a big fish, Dad. I want to catch a fish like you guys catch with your buddies. I said, honey, there's no guarantee I can put you on a big fish. You know what I mean? We can go out and try, but Yeah, we were there 90 minutes and she caught 2 nice fish and then caught that 37. And she said, okay, let's go home. Like that's how easy it is. We just go out and catch, 30, almost 40 pound
and go,
fish.
yeah.
And then we just go home.
That must have been a proud papa moment, though.
Absolutely. So to get to Kelly's question here, if you're on a lake and the water is moving one direction, but it's flooded and spilling out the other direction, out the other way, and you have a cross current, can it affect the bite of fish? Well, here's the thing. Your water that's moving out, spilling out the other direction, that's your current. That's your flow. If the water's moving the other way, it's by wind. So your wind is going to affect only the top couple feet of water, but that movement of flow going out will affect the bottom flow. And it really depends on what depth the fish are at, or how deep the lake is that you're fishing, as to what might be the better strategy. Because bait's going to go towards the wind side, blowing up a bank, shad, and they're going to eat all the plankton and all the small particles, and they're going to go over there where the wind's blowing up against the bank. But you actually have a draw or current going out the spillage. Now, if it's a spill over and not a spillway, it's two different things. You're still only affecting the top water, and I would go towards the wind blown bank, because most likely that's where your bait's going to be. If it was me.
Let's see.
I've got a question from Catfish and Crappie.
There we go.
Roger, what trip was the most memorable trip you took where the bite was on fire?
When the bite was on fire, man, I tell you, I probably have had better trips than this, but it's honestly, it was last year, January 24th, I believe, was the date. And I can't remember if it was right before or right after the Winter Blues tournament. But Zach and I went out and caught fish. We ended up catching 37 fish total, but all blue cats. But we missed just as many as we caught. It was insane, ridiculous. We actually threw 10 rods out. Mm-hmm. 9 rods came right back in with fish on them. Actually, like 4 or 5 came back in. We tried to throw them back out. At one point in time, we had 9 fish laying on the floor at the same time. We had 1 rod left still out. And Zach says, "Stop fishing. Don't throw anything else out." He said, "We got to get these fish off the floor." It's like, heck yeah. And like I said, that was January last year. And we're actually, we hit it right. And we're hoping to get into some of that action come the Winter Blues tournament. But that bite was on fire that day. The bite shut off and we moved downriver and we found fish and it started all over again. We threw all of our lines out and boom, it was just chaos. Love it.
Just give me a little bit of the business.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
It's 50-50 now. Mm-hmm. You've got Uncle Lou coming.
Uncle Lou's
Welcome,
here.
Uncle Lou.
Yeah.
Welcome.
My number one fan, Lyle.
Kelly has a follow-up.
Yeah. You got rest in here?
60 foot off ledge. The cross current was having us all over the place, even though we were anchored up. Yeah, sounds like you got you have a wind issue there. What I could tell you, I'm not sure so you're market fish, you were obviously in a boat and the wind had you all over the place and you were anchored up. So, unfortunately, in a situation like that, you have to double anchor, which I hate doing. But in order to do it proper, you want to have a lot of rope. But the thing to do is you go back behind your target or close to your target and you drop an anchor and you let out a whole bunch of rope. And you come way past where you want to actually anchor and you drop your other rope. And then you pull yourself back. And basically you're sitting in the middle and you just keep pulling both ends tighter and tighter and tighter until your boat really doesn't move much anymore. Because if you just do one anchor and then you try to drop another anchor, you're still going to sway all over the place. But if you drop an anchor way back behind you and way out in front of you and pull the two tight, it'll keep you from twisting and turning all over the place. I don't like having anchor ropes out. Just gives the opportunity for fish to get caught. But when you have one at that angle, that pitch away from the boat, it seems to be less of an issue as opposed to straight down under the boat.
I had an experience with the double anchors here at our lake. Aaron and David, my buddy David, were fishing, and I hooked into something really large up a bridge abutment, and we were the fish actually came at me, and I couldn't retrieve. He was pulling drag as I was trying to slow him down, and he ended up going right over the middle of the under the bottom of the boat, right in the center, and then he crossed underneath, and he sawed the line against the hull, and we having the double anchors, we had no way to get out from underneath it, and it cost me a big fish. I see that that's actually the bridge where we caught him is within sight of the dock. So every time I go out there, I see that bridge, and it's like it kind of bow my head.
Yeah. I hate using an anchor, period. But there are times when you just have to. And right now with the high water that we've been having to use the anchor. Use the anchor ball, the buoy ball. But in a lake situation, it's got to be tough. Great information. Hey, I appreciate that. What I say, is my opinion, my experiences out there. Like I said before, a lot of the information I've got is through much more experience and greater anglers than I'll ever be. But I've asked questions and learned and talked to people and watched videos, and if what I could say can possibly help somebody, then fantastic. But I never want anybody to believe that my way is the only way or everything was my idea, and I'm more than I'm not. But I love the idea of helping somebody, and if it helps them catch a fish or catch more fish or have a better time to doing it, then my job was done, and it's very gratifying. Yeah,
there's something to be learned from everybody you talk to. And
Yes.
I'm new to the community. You probably all heard my story. I don't want to bore you about being a bass fisherman and converting and all that, but I love to listen to people that are talking. It's the things I don't know about, and some of it I try, and some of it I say, well, maybe I like what I'm doing, but I love the ability to listen and learn new things.
Yep. That's there's definitely a wealth of knowledge. I just glancing at chat there, I see Lyle over Catfish. Lyle will forget more by the time he goes to bed tonight than I know right now. He's just, he's got that much experience and knowledge, and he's been around a lot of great anglers, and he's put lots of time in on the water. And, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of guys that know way more than I know. So every little bit that I can offer and share, then, hopefully it's worth something to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But you certainly put your time in too, You've had some great times. How is that fishing with the guys, with Zach and Skip, the River Warriors? How did that all come about?
It's a blast, man. Zach is very. Me and Zach are kind of weird. I mean, we finish each other's sentences and stuff, not to sound all corny and whatnot, but we think a lot alike. When we're thinking about our next move or what we should have done or what we could do next, the other one's pretty much already figured it out or thought about it. So we're really on the same page. It makes it really awesome for us to fish together. Skip is right there with the talent and stuff. He's gotten really good at reading his electronics and thinking more. You can't really think like a fish because they don't think, but thinking about the habits and reactions that catfish have. It's just fun. All three of us get on the boat, and it's like, even on the live stream the other day, you can see Skip and Zach back here talking about the next move or what are we going to do next. And that's how it is the whole time. Some people ask, my ex-wife would ask me, she said, you guys were out there for 12 hours. What in the world did you talk about? Fishing. We talked about fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously? You didn't talk about, no. We talk about what the fish are thinking or where they at or what are they doing. what are we going to do next? We talk about fishing. I mean, we throw in some personal stuff there. You know, those guys are like brothers to me. They know more about me than just about anybody else on the planet does, including probably 95% of my family. But they're great fellas. They do anything for you.
Yeah, it's noticeable that you guys really are very, very good team. You all work cohesively, and you know, everybody's moving at once for the thing. You know, and it works. It really shows that you guys got it all together when you're out there.
Yeah, it's hard to find, man. You fish with a lot of people, and just having that balance, you know, is tough to find. But we've got it figured out.
So how's your boat doing?
My boat just it's running. It's up and running. I've just got an issue with the timing linkage. When I advance the throttle, my timing is sticking just a little bit, the arm there. There's a spring inside of that arm, and I think that spring could possibly be bad. It's not putting enough tension to advance the timing. So I added a spring just to get me by for a minute just to see if that was it, and it cleaned up the problem right away. Problem is that spring was a little too stiff, and it doesn't allow the timing to reset all the way back to low idle. So just a little hiccup there, but fingers crossed. I think I've got it. It was running good. I had it up to me and Justin had it up to, I think, 37 miles an hour, and it don't go a whole lot faster than that.
Wow.
38, 39 is about as fast as I can get it. But and that's plenty for me. I back it off and run 30 mile an hour anyway. That extra 3, 4, 5 mile an hour sucks the gas. I back it off and that old two-stroke.
I got a 150 Mercury. I know how the gas goes. It goes down. Mine's a 19. It's actually my first 4-stroke. I had a 2-stroke Yamaha before that. It was a 150 and a VMAX, and that thing, I think I was getting about 3, maybe 4 miles to the gallon out of that. I could afford to run down to the end of the lake and back once, and then I had to refill it.
I get 2 miles a gallon.
Oh wow.
A 1990, it's a Johnson 150 GT.
Okay.
And she's a thirsty girl.
You know what I've noticed on the new boat, the 4-stroke doesn't use anywhere near the amount of oil that my 2-stroke did, which is good because Yamaha, they recommend you only use Yamalube, and it's twice as expensive as all the other oils, and it's hard to find. And they say if you blow your engine and, you know, if it's under warranty and we hook it up to computer and find out you weren't using all of our products, then they void your warranty. And I wasn't a big fan of that whole deal, but when I bought the boat, the price was right and I grabbed it. But the new Mercury, the Pro XS, it's really a nice motor.
Yeah, I plan to upgrade the motor at some point in time. I actually was debating here recently whether I should sell the boat. Just a situation I'm in. I got to make some changes, and I just can't do it. I'm not selling the boat. I'll figure something out. But eventually, I'll put another motor on that boat. But I just ain't getting rid of the boat. I love the way it's set up. I built it by hand from the floor up, and it's the way I want it. So.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's like my boat is strictly a bass boat, and as much as I'd love to fish out of it, it doesn't have a live well. It doesn't have rod holders. There's really no room in the back to put a railing back there. And if I'm not going to bass fish out of it, I don't want to slime up the carpet, because right now it's in pristine condition, and I think I'd need to make that decision if I want to get rid of it and think of getting a different boat, or just, get rid of it and stay as a bank angler as I'm starting to age. My body isn't responding the way it did years ago. So my boating days may be a thing of the past. I don't know.
Well, you're not really dealing with a lot of current there where you're at, right?
No.
Yeah. And my personal opinion would be a pontoon, and Jody she's getting ready to start shaking her head. Yes.
Pontoon.
But the pontoons, man, they're nice. They make it, especially if you have a hard time getting around. One of the things I did for a short while was take handicap folks out on my pontoon. So we widened the door on it to get wheelchairs through.
Oh,
and
great.
Some ramps actually have a wheelchair ramp up that you can pull up next to, and you could wheel a wheelchair up and right onto your boat. Now we had a little platform we slid across so they can get on and off. Or even once you drop down in the water, take them out on the dock and getting them in. But the pontoon boats, man, they offer a lot, and for the money, overall they're not nearly as expensive as a deep V or any other stuff. But I don't know, maybe something to consider.
Yeah.
The bank is awesome, and I've seen how close it is to you guys, so that definitely makes it nice.
Yeah, I've seen Tim King. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a guide over here on Kerr.
Oh yeah.
And he had a video one day where he had a pontoon and he was anchored up, and he came off anchor, and the next thing you know, like he was doing a 360, and all of his lines got tangled up. And I said, "Oh man!" And then that was just from the wind, I was like, "Oof,
yeah,
I don't know about that."
Yeah, the pontoons definitely catch a lot of wind. But to be completely honest with you, it's not as bad. But the deep V boat, I recommend deep V for any catfisherman, just just the way it is, and bending over and the safety level and all that stuff. I prefer deep V, but they V's that catch a lot of wind too. Not near as bad as a pontoon, but it's something to consider.
Yeah, and I have the spot lock on mine too. I got the iPilot and all that, and so that would probably help me too. But again, I need to make a decision and make it soon, because this thing's getting older as it sits here. I just went out there the other day and had to take the broom to one of my custom cover that comes with it, because I don't have a garage. And you got to be very careful when you got them covers when they're under the weight of the snow. We got snow the other night, so I had to go out and get that all off of there. So I've ripped a couple of them covers before, so I was out there a lot longer than I was. I was being very gentle with it.
The Buck says, Michelle said the boat's already on the interweb.
Yeah, I think she'd like to see it go. Somebody asked me one night in one of Aaron's tournaments, I believe, what would it take for me to change my name from LG Bass to LG Cats. And that was without even thinking, a fully loaded Sea Arc.
Woo!
Yeah, it was funny because that night in the tournament, right after there was a tournament, and I did agree to change my name for that night, for the 8 hours, so the 12 hours that we were fishing. So, all right, I'll agree to it. You can call me LG Cats. And 20 minutes later, didn't I catch a largemouth on a piece of cut bait? I said, well, my fate is sealed. It was about a 4-pounder, too. It was a nice one.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some bass out of ponds. To me, I want to fish for the biggest fish in the water. And if I get to a pond and a 5-pound bass is the largest fish in the water, that's what I want to catch.
Yep.
I just want to catch the biggest fish that's in the water.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jody, you see anything we're missing in the...
Yeah, we've had quite a few come in. Ernie the Hog Snatcher just come in. Rico 336. Fishing Ranch Home. Richard Summers. Lance and Flathead Flatties. They've been in a while. And I've seen Jarrell's name up there. And
Excellent.
Chunky Cat's come in.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right,
What's up, Mr. Elstan?
Hey, Fish Ranch Home, did you say him? Okay. I missed that one then.
Elstan, did you end up getting on any fish? I was in there for a little while, but ended up hopping over and checking out James, and then now I'm here. I'm not sure if you got on any fish tonight or not. Save yourself a headache.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was reading Uncle Lou's comment. He said, save yourself a headache, get something other than a Sea Arc. Yeah, they definitely have their pros and cons for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would go for the deep V every time. You know, there's lots of different kinds out there. I haven't got to crawl around enough of them to even say, but just knowing what I know and seeing what I've seen, I like the Smoker Craft Phantom.
Okay.
That's what Quentin Robbins runs down on Mississippi, and I've seen it in person. We ran into him while we were fishing down there, and I think it's set up awesome. I like it. I like the way it's set up. But I can't afford them $100,000 boats, some Hughes Craft and all that other stuff. I mean, that'd probably be the way I go if I had the money. Wow, tough night fishing, Chunky.
Brad has a comment for you, Roger.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I definitely will keep that in mind, Brad. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Rico's in the house, if you didn't say Rico. All right, let's get back to some questions.
All right.
I hear you like to hunt.
I do. Before I had my surgeries, I've had a brain tumor on my left side. It went through my ear canal and went through all my ear bones and destroyed I'm actually still deaf in my left ear, and went through my skull and up to my brain. And I've had 3 different surgeries on it. And some of the problems I have now left over from that is I have dizziness and loss of balance and things like that. So I can't get up in a tree anymore like I used to. And so my hunting days have kind of backed off, and I can hunt from the ground, but when you have to hunt from the ground, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
If you choose to hunt from the ground, it's different. But when you have to, because you can't get in a tree anymore, I just wasn't enjoying myself anymore. I was frustrated, and I couldn't get up in a good vantage point, see things coming, and I just started losing interest. I wasn't having a good time anymore, and I just kind of backed out of it. Now I do still chase turkeys. I like to hunt turkeys, but it's a little tricky with one ear because everything sounds like it came from over there. But to be completely honest, if you guys think I put a lot of time on the water, I used to hunt at least twice as hard as I fish.
Wow.
Yeah, I would hunt 2 to 3 days a week, every week. I went after big bucks. I'd fill my freezer up with doe meat, whatever I needed for the season, and then I would hunt after. Usually I had a handful of deer that I was willing to take, and that was it. Anything else that came through, if it didn't make the cut, then I wouldn't take it. But yeah, I used to hunt a lot. I actually got a deer tattoo. I got to come up with a catfish tattoo. The only tattoo I have,
nice,
is that deer tattoo.
That's cool.
I drew it myself. Kind of had some meaning behind it, but now I'm like, now I got to draw a catfish tattoo, put on the other arm, because I still love deer hunting, but I just don't do it nearly as much.
Well, can you tell us where the term muskrat came from?
Yeah. So my father-in-law, the Vietnam veteran, as I mentioned, he liked to crappie fish a lot. And he was coming over. He came over to the house one day, and I was loading up the boat. And he said, "You going fishing?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Let me guess, you're going to the river." I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to the river." He said, "You're like an old muskrat, just running up and down the riverbank all the time. That's all you want to do is run up and down that damn riverbank." He said, "You about never go crappie fishing anymore, do you?" And I don't know. He called me a few times after that. He'd seen me. He said, "What's up, muskrat?" And it just stuck. And
That's great.
Muskrat is not the coolest critter to call yourself. It's not the most vicious animal out there. But he gave me the name, and it meant something to me, and so I kept it. And that's why the channel is named the way it is.
It's better than being called the skunk, though, right?
Yeah, you're true. That's true.
All righty, let's see.
I see a question there from Fishing Whiskers. What would be your ultimate fishing destination and what for? The Wales catfish. I mean, I know there's a lot of other, I also would love to catch a red-tailed catfish. But the whales with the size of them and the fight that thing puts on. That would probably be one of my top bucket list fish to catch.
All right, I got a question.
Okay.
Last night in your group, someone wanted to know what color socks you wore.
What?
Yeah,
What
somebody in
socks?
your group wanted that question asked in your group last night.
Well, you'd be happy to know what I'm not going to show you because I'm not that flexible. But tonight my socks are Pinocchio socks. They match my underwear.
All right.
It is after 11.
All right. Yes.
I told her she's going to be sorry if she asked that question.
Yeah. I think she's
Jody, you okay?
Huh?
Has anybody seen Jody speechless before? All right, that's how you shut the show down right there.
I hope she didn't make a bet on what your answer was going to be.
Danny Stone, your socks don't match. Thank you, Danny.
I don't even know where that come from. What's everybody talking about socks for?
Oh my God.
All right, next question. We got to change the subject.
I'll let you know in a minute.
She's gone.
Yeah.
Hey, this right here is a moment in history. It was 11:07. 11:07. Jody was speechless and unable to respond.
Let's see. So tell us a little bit about how the better cheddars came about. Is that the official lunch of the muskrat, or?
Pretty much. I started out fishing with when I went fishing, I bought this Coleman grill. It was a Walmart clearance. I love Walmart clearance. If you go back and look at one of my early videos, I have my phone and my scanner on me all the time, and I'm scanning all kinds of stuff at Walmart. You won't believe the deals you get if you take the time to scan stuff. Well, these Coleman griddles, they were griddles, and they were marked down to like $25 from 100. So I bought one and put it on the boat. Well, it's got a very small lip on it. So if you try to fry something greasy, the grease would run over the sides, and that's a dangerous situation with an open flame on the boat.
Oh yeah.
So hot dogs, something not greasy. That hot dogs are just hot dogs. So I got the better cheddars, and I said, oh yeah, this would be much better than just an old hot dog. And everybody likes them. And then now even. You would think, because people ask, don't you get sick and tired of eating them things? No, because I eat them when I go fishing, and I'm happy when I'm fishing.
Yeah,
so I could eat anything. If I'm eating better cheddars, that means I'm fishing, and that makes them even better. And I'll tell you right now, you get fishing on a chilly day, and you put something warm in your belly, it's like restarting the whole day over, man. Your energy level will jump straight up, and you feel like a whole new man again.
So your better cheddars are our breakfast sandwich. I said, been many a night when we were here fishing all night long through the night, and just couldn't wait for that sun to come up so that we knew that Michelle will make the sandwiches, and she'll send a text message. All right, come up the hill and get them, and she'll have them all ready for us. Oh man, is it wonderful?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jody's still laughing.
Yeah, she's having a hard time over there. I don't know. That's people in chatter. People in chatter noticing. Buck says breathe. If we got Zach on the boat, he gets hungry early. He's in much better shape than me and Skip are, but about 10 o'clock, 10:30, he's hungry. He's like, let's eat. But in reality, for us, average trip to the river is about an hour and a half drive, hour and 45 minutes, depending. So, most days we're up at 4 o'clock to start getting on the water. We'd like to be there about a half hour before sunrise. And so by 10:30, we've been up for 6.5, 7 hours. It's time to eat.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I used to work the night shift, so I'm used to that, eating up things that other people think are odd at odd times.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
All right. Some things you just don't recover from, says Chrissy Brown. Oh, I see now. Danny said Jody can't recover.
Let's see. You had Carolina Real Screamers come in and Big Mike.
What's up, Big Mike? Carolina Real Screamers, what's going on? They've been everywhere here lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They definitely making a name for themselves, and it's awesome. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're slinging them Mad Cats rods.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. I've only handled one Mad Cat rod, and I threw it just a few times. On that day we were fishing Hoover, and they were medium heavy rods, and they're a little heavy. I think if I would use one, I would have to go down to a medium, because I think their medium heavy feels more like their medium feels more like a medium heavy that I would normally use. But not because he's in here, not because we all love Uncle Lou, but to be completely honest with you, I've got big cat fever, tangling with catfish. Daggone Whisper Seeker rods, Steve Douglas rods. I've pretty much had most of the big name brand. I'm sure there's some I haven't used, and hands down, the Uncle Lou's rod is my personal favorite. I like a long handle behind the reel. I like the reel seat to be positioned farther up the rod. It gives you much more control, less rod out to the end. It gives you better leverage on a big fish.
Yeah.
And if they were any other color, I'd still love them. If it was another company, I would still love them. But the fact that Uncle Lou is the one that put these rods out, and he is who he is, it makes it even better, because one thing I believe in is backing a company up that stands for something. There's a few rod manufacturers out there that will never see a red cent to me, and I don't care what kind of incentive or what type of promise. I would never buy their rods just because of what the name of their company is and the way they present themselves. And that's just a personal. Yeah, B&M is actually a rod I've never used, Brad. I hear a lot of good things about them. Their price point is really good. I've never personally used one. Brad says Uncle Lou's rods. Yeah, it's not because he's in here, because he's Uncle Lou and he helps so many people out. It's honestly, if I had to go in the garage and I didn't know any of you, that would still be the rod I'd grab every time.
Yeah. I had an Uncle Lou's Christmas this year.
I see that.
Thank you, Uncle Lou. I got a rod, and I've got 2 fish on it now. Not any big ones yet, but I love it. And I have had, I think I have 3 Muddy River rods, 4 of the Mad Cats, and now the Uncle Lou's. And it's like I want to get all these rods, but there's only 4 rod holders on the dock. So I rotate them. I rotate them in and out, and I keep a couple tied up in the Jeep, so in case I break off and I want to get back in quick, I can throw another rod out. But my Uncle Lou's right now is my favorite, and that will be on the dock every night I'm out there. So thank you again, Uncle Lou.
I had the Muddy River Blue Cat rods. I really liked them. I didn't like how thick the handle was. I liked the grip on them. I liked the reel seats on them. And really the bulk of the handle was about the only real setback. The action of those rods was good. I liked them. We've got some Paula Smith Signature Series rods. We really like those. I'd rather have the 7.6 than a 7-foot rod personally. Yeah. But it does have a real nice tip on it. It definitely makes, I see why it's considered a flathead rod. Somebody asked earlier if I could have any rod and reel combo. I'll be honest with you, my budget's never been where I can just go out and pick whatever I want. So I'm sure there are much better rods and reels out there that I could choose. But my Uncle Lou's rod is going to be my rod of my choice, and the reel. Honestly, it bounces back and forth. If I could afford anything, I'd probably look at some of the Shimano reels. They make fantastic reels. I've had a couple old Shimanos in my day, but right now I don't own a single Shimano reel. I've got pin pin reels, and I've got Abu 6500s all the way around. I've actually got probably too many of them. But
yeah, I have the 6501s. That's my primary reel of choice.
that's a left-handed reel.
Yep. I have the 6501s and the 6601s. But I like the 65. Actually, is a little bit smoother. That's also, it's the slower gear ratio. That's the C3 versus the C4. And when you're really cranking on something with that faster speed, my hand gets sore. Even with a power handle, it's my forearm starts to get sore when you're reeling in a fish from a long distance. And for some reason, they're very, very similar in size, and just that gear ratio makes a big difference.
Yep. So the gear ratio is part of the equation, but the actual spindle on the reel has a lot to do with the pickup rate. So on your reels, it'll tell you how many inches per turn you're getting. Mm-hmm. So if you take a look, you got the 6500s versus the 7000s, and the 6500 actually has a faster retrieve, a greater line pickup rate than the 7000 does. And which I found really strange, but it does.
Yeah.
For me, the speed really isn't an issue. The only time I really want to crank one in is bumping. So I've actually looked at the PC Fun. I can't remember. It's 8-to-1 ratio reel that I saw on it. Because what happens is you bump so far back and you about run out of line. You want to keep that. You want to keep that in the water as long as you can. As longer it's in the water, the better chance you are to catching a fish. Well, eventually you're about out of line and you got to reel it in. And I want to get it in quick and get back in the water quick. And so that's why the quicker line pickup would be important to me, just for a bumping reel.
Yeah. So Michelle says she tracked down the very last 6501 in the country and got it here for Christmas for my Uncle Lou's rod. She did.
That's a good woman right there. You know what I mean?
She sure is.
Understands.
Thank you, Michelle.
See, my kitty Whiskers has come in, and Brown B, and Del Hayslip. That's all I got to say.
She's still laughing. All right, so let's change the subject a little bit away from fishing.
All right.
Suppose you couldn't go fishing. What would you do on a night off? What would you do to go out? Do you go to concerts, or do you like music, or ball games or sports?
I've never been a sports fan. I'll be completely honest with you. When it comes to sports, I live in Ohio, so I root for Ohio State, and that's about as complicated as I get when it comes to sports. If I lived in another state, I'd probably be a fan of them. Luckily for me, Ohio State has a good record. But I really don't care for pro sports at all. I watch college sports. To me, the pro sports is just a lot of money and just overpaid, in my opinion. The kids are playing for a dream and playing for heart. Now, I know that, some of them are getting money, and so that's kind of going away. But I'd much rather watch college football or even high school football. He's my godson, really, but he plays high school football. And so during the season, I like to go catch his games and hang out with and cheer him on. Now he's into wrestling, so now I'm going to be going and watching wrestling matches.
Well, that's cool.
So, but yeah, basically, if I'm not home, which if I'm home, I'm usually either on YouTube or I'm out fishing. But if I'm not home, I'm probably with family.
We're out looking for cool socks.
Oh no. I knew as soon as I said it, I shouldn't have said that.
All right, let's pivot away from that.
Okay.
I hear you like stand-up comedy.
I do. I really enjoy stand-up comedy. We got a couple local ones here, but we got a place called the Funny Bone. I think a lot of places throughout the country, it's kind of a nationwide thing, but
okay.
But the Funny Bone, we sign up and we get free tickets and whatnot over there. It's a good release. In case you guys can't tell, I'm a jokester. I love to joke around and crack up and have a good time. And so getting out and cracking up and laughing for an evening is just a great way to escape everything and forget about everything for a little bit and go on from there. But yeah, I like stand up. So actually, if I'm on a road trip of any type and I'm sleepy, I'll turn on Pandora and I'll turn on comedy because if I listen to music, you eventually kind of sing yourself to sleep. You know the words, but on comedy, your mind's engaged. You're waiting on the punchline. You're laughing. So if you ever find yourself driving and you're sleepy or you got a long road trip, turn on some comedy. And there's a lot of comedy stations on Pandora, and have yourself a ball.
So, what have you seen any of the big name comic? Who's the biggest name you've seen?
Biggest name? Man, I can't really remember who all the big name was. Just not too long ago, about a month ago, we went and saw Donnie Baker. That boy ain't right.
No, he's not.
But man, I'm sitting there trying to think. I like Jim Gaffigan.
Okay. Yep.
I really like his comedy, even though the raunchy comedy don't bother me none. His comedy is 90% of the time there's nothing vulgar in it. Hardly uses any foul language or anything, and it's still funny as can be. And I like that.
What do you think of Ron White?
Oh, I like Ron White. Yeah. There really isn't too many comedians that I don't like. I mean, I find value in all of them at some point or another.
Yeah, he comes through here every couple of years. He comes down to Durham, and every time it's like, man, you need to go get the tickets. And for some reason it's never worked out, but I love to see him.
What's up, Haz? I've seen Haz jumped in here. Brian B. He's been in here though. I don't think I officially said hello.
Howdy, Haz.
Hello, Haz. So who would be like if in a comedy movie, who would be your all-time favorite comic?
My all-time favorite comic? It'd be between Jim Carrey and that's probably Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey. Yeah, I like a lot of Jim Carrey.
One of my favorite movies is Liar Liar. So one of my favorite comedies. Yeah.
It was just on not too long ago, and I watched it.
Yeah. But my favorite is by far Leslie Nielsen. I'm a big fan of Airplane and Naked Gun and Police Squad. His delivery, he's just, that's it for me. He's hysterical. And of course, I'm a little bit older, so Rodney Dangerfield.
Yep, there's nothing wrong with that either. I'm trying to think of some of the newer guys. I'm terrible with, especially when it comes to like music trivia and stuff like that. And I can't remember half the stuff. As soon as I get off here, I'll be like, oh yeah, what about this guy and this guy?
Oh yeah.
Even comedians, I like Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Janice used to go to school with Kevin Hart, and so we kind of talked people that know each other and stuff like that. So it kind of made you feel cool for a minute that people, people that know people, about Kevin Hart. So, but Kevin Hart has a cool story too, and he's funny. I like watching him.
What about you, Jody? Do you have a favorite comic? No,
I can't think of one.
Oh
do you
man,
have a funny movie you like?
Richard Pryor.
I love David Spade. Anything David Spade in is funny.
David Spade.
I only watch comedies.
Yep, he was at the Funny Bone as well. So I got to see
Brian B. I mean, he's funny.
Brian B. is pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, David Spade, I think, was kind of like the end of Saturday Night Live for me when it stopped being funny anymore.
You You don't like David Spade, or you do?
No, I do. He was like the last one. After him, I didn't really enjoy it the way I used to. And I remember from the beginning, with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray and Gilda Radner, and that was some. I couldn't wait for Saturday Night Live to come on back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll go through and watch them on cable. Watch some of the older things that they did. It was priceless. And of course, a lot of the stuff they did back then you couldn't get away with today. So
yeah. There's a movie on Netflix called The Wrong Missy with David Spade in it. It is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
If anybody's not watched it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm seeing so many good ones in chat now. I'm like, man, that's what I'm saying. There's really no comics that I just don't like or just don't find funny. I've got, some comedy, is a little off for me, and I'm just kind of weird. Like I've never been one to care for like adult cartoons. Not meaning like adult cartoons, but like, like even
I used to listen to Roy D. Mercer.
Yeah.
When he was in prank phone calls, stuff like that. He'd ask, how big a boy are you?
Yeah.
I always thought that was so funny.
I love the prank calls and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember who it was, but I was listening to one of those prank phone calls on the radio one morning. And it was a guy that had called up, wanted to know how to get bloodstains out of a carpet. And it was hysterical.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Rodney Carrington.
That's who I went to. I think it was Rodney Carrington.
Yeah, Rodney Carrington.
Somebody, country that sings and does comedy. You know who it is?
Who? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you were talking about the same person.
Yeah, he was funny.
The better cheddar thing to try. Put them in a cheeseburger, hamburger helper instead of hamburger. That sounds good. I've got some hamburger helper out there, and no hamburger.
Yeah.
I love Valerie. There you go.
Buckeyes.
OH. Comedy is just a great way to, just to get your mind free. I'll listen to comedy when I'm cutting the grass. Roger Wrestling coming to, not that kind of wrestling, Dale. Funny story. I actually used to be really into like the whole pro wrestling thing. My uncle was a referee, and it was a small, not the big TV style stuff, but your local stuff. And he was a referee, and my dad's buddy was owned the company, and we'd get free tickets when we were kids to all the wrestling events, and we'd go in beforehand and be jumping around the ring, and afterwards when they were tearing stuff down, we'd go up and jump off the ropes, and we thought we were hot stuff. And we watched all the Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and the Undertaker and all that stuff. We I used to watch all that, and then eventually you just kind of, it wasn't fun no more. The funny thing is, I don't know, maybe about a year or so ago, I went back and I saw it on TV, and I thought, let me check it out. Let me see what's going on now. It was the same thing that was going on 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or how long ago I quit watching. It's the same thing. I was like, nothing changed.
Let's say David Smith says Jeff Dunham is a great comedian. Yep.
Jeff Dunham is good. Yeah,
and Valerie said Ron White. They call me Tater Salad. Yep.
Yeah, I like that Blue Comedy comedy tour, man.
Yeah, So he said, I had the right to remain silent. I just didn't have the ability. Tim Conway, yep. It used to be, and this may be predate you guys, but when the Tonight Show was on, when Don Rickles would be on there with Johnny Carson, and oh man, was he funny. Chris Farley, yeah.
Yeah, he was a good one. I hate
Dumb
when
and
we lose
Dumber.
good ones.
Let's see, Kevin Hart. Yep.
Robin Williams, if we all know him from some silly movies, but if you ever go back and watch his stand-up, he was pretty good at stand-uppers too. He was a little ornery.
Yeah, he was. I remember from one of his first ones where he said, condominium, from the Latin word that means to pay too damn much.
Mhm.
Yep. There's definitely some good ones, man. I love watching comedy movies. But I really actually prefer more. I like a lot of war movies, true stories, which is ironic that I say I like true stories. And then I also say I like horror movies but I've never been into, sci-fi, far-fetched stuff, even the horror movies, it has to be something that could really happen. Actually, the ones I like the most are the horror stories that are true stories about, serial killers or.
Yeah.
I just realized I sound pretty dark right now, so I'll get back out of that.
Well, I tell you, every time I see Midway come on, I watch it.
Yeah.
It's a tragic movie, but I watch it. I love it.
Yep. Eddie Murphy. Yeah, they're just coming in. Dexter is crazy good. I've never watched that. I thought about getting into it. I really don't watch enough TV. I watched what was a series I watched here recently? Oh, I can't remember. It was about, it was old time setting, swords and Vikings and all that kind of stuff. Freddie Wrench is being removed now. Let me go to YouTube Studio. If Freddie did it, I don't know what he did. Oh, he's talking about hands needing auto tune.
That's exactly what he said.
Heck no. Valerie asked if you're central. I'm South Central Ohio, so I'm about an hour directly south of Columbus. So about 20 minutes south of Circleville. I'm not sure where you are in relation to that, but about an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, give or take, to the closest point of the river, depending on what pool I'm fishing. It's hour and 15 minutes, hour and 45 minutes.
I think the last. Good.
I just was repeating Curtis there. Live stream what?
I said the last thing that last regular television that I had been watching was I was into the Chicago trilogy, the Fire, Med, and PD. And
I got you.
When I got up into this community, it's like, I watch catfishing all night long. Yeah, I'm a YouTube fanatic now. I watched you last night, and then Mike came on at 10, and then I nodded off, and I woke up and Hog Leg was on, and I nodded off, and I woke up and Lee was live, and it just stretches one right into the other.
Hey, Lyle called it at one point. He said eventually we're going to be to where you can get on YouTube 24/7, and there's going to be fishing going on, either catfishing or talking about catfishing, and we're getting there. We've got some of these guys that do it, like Lee does almost everyday show. I thought about doing an everyday show, based on all the drama that goes on in the catfish community, which we like to ignore, but it's there. And I was going to call it As the Reels Turn.
That's good.
And let people come on and let's just have it out. Let's just get the stuff out of the way. Let's get it on the table. But I don't want to be part of that. So somebody else can steal that idea. As the reels turn, you heard it first here.
The wrenches will be flying.
What music is top on the list right now? I like everything. If you looked at my Pandora playlist, you would freak out. You'd be like, it's hard rock and heavy metal, country, rap and hip hop, Elvis Presley. It's all depends, but I'd say right now my favorite station on Pandora is called it's called a workout station, which is ironic because I definitely am not working out. But it's more like upbeat, grungy kind of stuff, trying to pump you up. Like Five Finger Death Punch. I like Breaking Benjamin. I went and seen their concert not too long ago. But then, country is just as good. And somebody said bluegrass. I listen to bluegrass. I listen to about anything. I love music. Music can, to me, it can either enhance your mood or it could change your mood entirely. I think there's a lot of power in music.
I used to, that's my favorite thing of all is to go to live shows. And unfortunately, because of COVID, that all had come to an end. But we used to make the trip every year to go see the Allman Brothers live. And even though there are very few of the original members left, the guys that are in there are just fabulous. And it was a great night of music. And they'd play for 2.5 hours. And you just felt like you got your money's worth. And the music was fantastic. And they were great in that when they came to your town, they would research their playlists from the previous year when they were there. So they never played the same song. So you didn't go see the same set list every year you saw them. And we saw them so many times, and there's only been a couple of songs that ever overlapped. And I thought that was an awesome way to approach that. And they did the instant live where you could get a copy of a CD of the show as you were leaving. You had to wait like 20 minutes for them to finish once the lights came on. But you could leave with a recording of the show that you just saw. And
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Brad says Jelly Roll is new. I actually know who that is, and I like him as well. It's kind of like it's kind of like the comedy thing. There are some music that I just don't care for, but that boy Roger did one last year. We do have a meet and greet. I didn't host it. I don't want to take credit away from Brandon from Catfishing Dreams. Brandon actually kind of organized it. I helped as much as he would let me. It's definitely hard for one person to do, and we are doing another one this year. So we'll make sure everyone's included. I was thinking about doing one, hosting one myself, because we've also got a lot of tri-state folks down around that Indiana, Kentucky border down there that I think would make a good one. Rocky Fork is a little out of touch for some of those folks. So, something down around Cincinnati Pool or Markland Pool or something like that. I'm wanting to try to work on to get more meet and greets together. Because they're fun. The meet and greets are, especially when you're meet and greet. Now, we did a little fishing tournament afterwards. So we all got together. Everybody brought a covered dish. We hung out for an hour or two, and then we went fishing and weighed in at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was a good time. Is Deer Creek too far? It all depends, Curtis, how, it's hard to find a neutral location. It kind of goes by numbers. So Rocky Fork wasn't too bad. We actually had a lot of participation this last year, and a lot of boats showed up, and it was a good time. I don't know if I like this new Jody. She's being way too nice. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
If you only knew the pictures and crap I was being sent to me.
I don't know what anybody. I don't know why anybody would send you pictures.
Leave that for the after show.
Curtis, actually, Deer Creek is actually about 18 minutes from my house. So I'm not sure if that's a more neutral water. You can't even get in it right now, though. It's too low. But
so let's talk about your channel a little bit.
Okay.
I noticed it looked like as far back as you've started it roughly 2 years ago.
Yeah, I put a couple things out, but then didn't do anything with it for a while. And then I can't remember exactly at what point I started actually kind of like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, my channel's been alive for 2 years technically.
Because I did some counting. You have 163 total videos in 2 years, and 69 of the Chat with the Muskrat episodes. So that's pretty impressive for 2 years. That's a lot of content.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that most of this last year, I pretty much did the live thing and didn't even put out any production videos, which I've talked about for a while, and that's what when we started tonight, I was talking about moving files around and freeing up space on the computers and getting things moving to where I can start getting more organized and cranking out some more production content. Here lately, I've been able to help a couple folks out with where to go find certain things and how to create their own content, sharing out either the tools that I use for thumbnails, music, or even the apps and that I use on my phone and computer. So I've really enjoyed hearing behind the scenes, trying to help a few folks out and help get them started and get them going. And but I think I'm pretty much caught up on everybody now. I'm going to go ahead and start focusing on getting my production videos put together and getting them out there on top of the weekly shows.
Right. And do you see it besides adding Jeremy, which is, again, I think awesome. What is there anything else we might see coming from you this year?
Yeah, I've got another idea, which, so one of the things that I really like is when I see these questions in chat, and sometimes we get some really good questions that would take a good look at and would make a really good episode or show. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I'm looking at doing, and I'm not sure how exactly we're going to do it yet, but what I imagined was on my community page, putting up a link or just putting up a post and having people drop questions or ideas for a show. And of those questions dropped on that community tab, going down through there and picking out 2 or 3 of those questions and then answering those on the following week. So it would be a reoccurring event to drop a community post. People ask questions. If their question didn't get asked, ask it again, and getting it to where, a lot of people ask questions here in chat, but just making sure that if there's other subjects or topics that people want to hear about or want to know about, if we see it in chat and then we got time to do some research and put together a thoughtful, answer to the question, as opposed to, on the fly here, you come up with the best you can off the top of your head, but you forget things, you get kind of sidetracked or flustered. Having a few days to prepare to answer a question or help somebody out, I think would help engage the audience, and waiting to see if their question was chosen, and then just showing some of that appreciation back for the people that's been around and the people that are tuning into the channel, that their voice is heard and that their questions are being answered or considered. So exactly,
that's great.
I need Jeremy's input on that. He's very smart. Jeremy's a very intelligent fella. And so I want his input and feedback on how that process should look and how we can polish it. So,
have you given any?
Go ahead.
Have you given any thought to with your new show where you're going to go in depth on a topic of the depth finders, the fish finders? As like the technology seems to be coming forward so fast, So my boat's 2 years old and my graph is obsolete already, and it was brand new when I bought it, and the technology is just getting better and better and better. And it would take me a while to learn how to do something new for sure. I got something new.
So that is one of the episodes. I've actually got, I won't put their names out there yet, but, I don't want nobody to go get them. But I've got some folks out there that are really good at their electronics, that I think would have a lot to offer. A couple things, I'm looking to get outside the box and bring some folks into the community that we've never seen before, or folks that, haven't been exposed to this. Jeremy's got some great channels that he's reaching out to that are way different than anything that we normally see here. But I really believe the value in what they do and what they have to say will help out a lot of people. So, without letting the cat out the bag or promising things until we have them locked down, we're just going to keep poking around and try to bring you guys new and better stuff. Right now, we've got this next month is going to be pretty tight. I've got Adam Cook from Muscat, really nice positive influence fish community. It's fresh. Hey, Northwoods, Peachtree, I appreciate that. I really do. Right now, this month, we've got Adam Cook lined up. We've got Chris Souders, and we got Terry Rogers.
Excellent.
So all three of those guys are, just top notch in their game. Terry is a guide that fishes the confluence where the Ohio dumps into the Mississippi. So he's got a lot of information available right there, lots of experience, and a guy that makes a living on finding fish and catching fish. And to my opinion, that's a very valuable person to listen to. He's got a guide service, and he's got some outstanding. I won't go into detail on his guarantees, but from what I can remember, they're pretty hefty. A lot of pressure to go find and catch a fish. So, I'll probably look at some more guides throughout the country this year to bring different concepts and ideas to everybody. Adam Cook out of the James River, he's a beast. He also has a guide service. That guy is amazing, man. He is. I think it's today or yesterday, man. He just catches pigs all the time. And
I think I saw a post on that. Yeah, I think I saw a picture of some of the fish they caught.
Yeah, he's the best. And then, of course, Chris Souders. There's, in my opinion, he's one of the best teachers there are out there. He's a big influence of why I put my show on. He's given me so many thoughts and material to better myself, and he's one of my heroes. So I'm flattered to have, even though we're friends and I still talk to him. It's still a big deal to me to have him, come on the show.
Now, I think I remember, and it goes back a little bit into maybe this year or the end of last year. You had a gentleman on, Mark
Blavelt.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say his last name. And I thought that show right there, I learned a lot from that. He was informative, and he had a good way of presenting the information. I really enjoyed that episode.
He is he's on the list too.
Oh, good.
He's actually been on the show twice already, but just like you just said, I've had a lot of folks request for him to come back, and he's a wealth of knowledge that is unreal. And the thing about Mark is, he fishes mostly lakes. And so where it seems a lot of us are river guys, bringing guys in that focus primarily on lakes and reservoirs, I think would be a great mix up for all the folks who are in those situations, and, be able to hammer some great questions. Because I'll be honest, I answer what I know about my lakes and reservoirs that I fish here. But to be completely honest, as a overall, most lakes and most reservoirs, I'm not the greatest. I know what I know about fish and try to incorporate it into lakes. But I think Mark, that'd be a great show to have Mark be able to answer those detailed questions.
Well, I hope I didn't spill that out of the bag. But that was from. I just remember that show, and it just left a mark on me.
No, so, he's right here on the list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of my 10 guests that I've got in my radar, I've got 4 out of 10 committed already and got dates locked in.
Excellent.
So I told you guys we're going to start off fast and heavy this year. I got a fire under me, and I got an awesome partner to help motivate and drive. And So I'm really wanting to see some growth in the channel this year and bring some new different things. It's tough. There are so many good channels out there doing so many amazing things. It's hard to be original. I'm sitting here, thinking of tournaments that I would like to host because, I do the kids tournament and I love it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind hosting a couple other tournaments because I really enjoyed sitting back here and hosting them almost as much as I enjoy fishing them, but I'll fish them. But I mean, to come up with an original idea, it's tough. There's so many guys out there that are doing so many cool things. It's kind of hard, and you don't want to, my style isn't to step on somebody or copycat somebody or something like that. So unless I come up with a real cool idea, original, something different, you're not going to see, you're not going to see stuff just get thrown out there by me just to have content.
Right. Now, did you have Ted Ellenbach on? Was that you? Or was that that goes back to, again, when I first started watching. But I've something in the back of my mind said that was your show as well. But
I know I talked to him. I can't remember if he did a show or if it was Catfish Weekly. I know Catfish Weekly has had him on a couple of times.
Yeah, it might have been that, but I remember thinking that how great he was too. He was a heck of a speaker. I learned that again. Learning, as I say, I absorbed that like a sponge.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about having on video. You can go back and watch this stuff over and over again and try to nail it down. Go ahead, Jody.
I'm dropping Roger's link. His channel's name's Muskrat Adventures. I know there's a lot of you in this group that doesn't have them. You haven't met them yet, so please subscribe. Tell them the day and time your show comes on.
We're live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that I appreciate that, Jody.
It's a weekly show, so please subscribe and start checking the show out. And you'll learn a lot of stuff.
And his link is also, as well as Jody's, is also down in the description here in case you don't, if you miss it here in the chat. So that'll be there for any time you want to come back and grab it if you don't do it now.
So a couple people I need to call out: Don R. and Tim Molina and Solo Texas Adventures. They've come in.
Excellent. Thank you all for coming in. I want to also bring up, remind everybody for the voting for the Golden Whiskers. You got until the end, I believe the end of the month to get that in. So go out there and watch those videos and have some fun with it.
Yeah, definitely. There's it's tough. I've gone through and done my voting, and I'll be honest with you, man, there's so many different, some categories were just no-brainers for me personally. But there were some categories that were like, man, this is a tough decision. So I won't share I don't want to influence anybody. But I'll be honest with you. Some of the decisions I made I didn't base it on the actual one thing. I kind of base it on what they do, if that makes any sense. Like, how successful they are, what their knowledge base is, if they're, one of my things is if somebody's learning and trying new things and adapting, or if they're going out and doing this. Jody will tell you, what I tell you, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again,
don't expect a different result.
What's my exact saying?
Don't expect a different result if you keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yep. If you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm not that smooth.
Yeah, I've never heard that like that. That's good though.
Mm-hmm.
I've never made that up. I stole it from somewhere, but it stuck with me, and that's true. If you keep going out and doing the same thing over and over again, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Don't drive yourself insane. If it ain't working, switch it up. Be willing to change and adapt. And there's a lot of folks, and I'll give Jody props. Not because she's sitting right here in front of us, but Jody is one of those people that among many that hunger for knowledge and wants to go improve herself and try new things and, better her skills. And it's refreshing to see, not only from a newer person in the YouTube community, but from a female angler as well. I think it's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
And certainly would like to congratulate her on her nomination for Female Angler of the Year.
Yeah, I hate to start calling people out because then I forget, if I miss somebody, then I hate to hurt anybody's feelings. But there was a lot of great nominations out there this year, and anybody who got nominated, you were nominated by your peers and by the rest of the people in the catfish community. And Roger said he has a fire under him. He must have had tacos earlier. No, I've been eating beans and cornbread for 2 days.
I think that's Taco Bell. That's funny.
Taco Bell. Yeah.
Rick Williams got one up there for you. You want to know if you could sing a verse of Muskrat Love?
No. Yep, says congrats to all the nominees. And that's what I was getting at. Was if you were nominated, man, you're a winner right there. There's a lot of competition out there, and to make it to the top 3, that's a big deal. There's a lot of channels to compete with. So there were a lot of new names in the mix this year, which was awesome, and a lot of the same people that were nominated last year because they continued to provide excellent content the following year, and they deserve it. So
yep, certainly congrats to everybody that I'm sure. I know I've seen a couple names in the chat who've also been nominated. I didn't get to see the whole show, so I'm not up on the big list, but I do see a few people in here earlier who were nominated as well. So congratulations and good luck to all.
Freddie. I'm honored. I may shed a tear, but I won't tell. So, what else you got for me? I'm an open book. You got to be careful when asking me because I'll tell you. But
well, why don't you tell us something that we haven't gone over?
Well,
be careful, Tom.
Let's see. I really don't have any other hidden talents. Some guys will, can play musical instruments or do certain things. My thing is I can talk a lot. So out of school, I landed a couple fast food jobs. I worked at Bob Evans as a grill cook for almost 8 years, and I loved it. I actually went back at one point in time after my first divorce and went back part-time and just to help make some extra money. I loved cooking, but I got into logistics, and then I got into logistics management, and that's pretty much where I've spent the last 15 years. I was a distribution center manager for Walmart, and then I went over and went to Target distribution, and Target distribution, hands down, to work for, no brainer, way better than Walmart. It was night and day difference. I have a different leadership style. I like to have fun and be productive. And I always, I had some good crews and I really enjoyed it. So I'm not able to work right now because of this whole dizzy brain thing going on. And I don't know if or when they're going to let me go back to work. But if I could, I would beg to have my job back at Target because I absolutely loved it. Very rewarding. Curtis, I do like to bowl. I'm not very good at it, but I like to bowl.
Hey, Snake River. I don't think I called out Brian B. or Dale Hayslip either.
Dale Hayslip, he's another Ohioan. We will be fishing together. We've been talking about it for a while, but his work schedule or my timing just doesn't ever seem to work up just right. But I want to get on the water with Fat Boy Catfishing and Quiet Curtis and Dale Hayslip. Hoover Reservoir is basically a a neutral water for most of us, I think it'd be awesome to get out there and get on some of that.
Cool.
Please.
Michelle
Can we
wants
talk
to
about
talk about
food? Wait, I was a distribution manager at Walmart too. Well, we and Roger have things in common. There you go, Freddie. Cold water catfishing tips. Danny's fishing the river, so I'm going to assume river. But kind of goes back to the earlier situation where, cold water catfish are for the most part, most of the year, they're territorial. They want their hole and their log and their rock or whatever it is that they're wanting to stick to, and that's theirs. And they don't want nobody around them. Well, this time of year, they're not competing over anything anymore. They're not competing for food or females. So they're very comfortable laying on top of each other, grouping up. And so this time of year, if you're on a boat and you got the ability to scan, I usually scan deep holes, deep bodies of water. It all depends on whether it's an outside bin, scour hole for some reason or another. But I like finding deep holes of water and scan them. And, it's common to find 10, 15 fish piled up in one hole together. And you get up in front of them and they're willing to bite. You can catch all 15 of them because they're still going to want to eat. But like I said, they're not competing over anything at this point. They're completely comfortable being, laying on top of each other and being in groups. So for me, it's usually deep water, but don't ever give up a sunny day. Even in the dead of winter, if it's freezing cold outside and you get a sunny day and you can get on a shallow flat, then fish will come up on that shallow flat because it's comfortable. It warm them up a little bit. And, I've caught fish in January in 2-3 foot of water.
Wow.
Like I said, it was an afternoon where the sun had been shining most of the day. And, I targeted shallow. And once it got dark or cooled off, I found them. They moved right back down into the hole. So I would primarily target deep bodies of water, deeper holes, but always be willing to try out the shallow flats to see if anybody's home.
David has a question.
Okay. Now that you tried and was successful bumping, where did you learn how to tie your rigs and fish that way? Actually, I can't remember exactly where I picked up the tying the rigs. I mean, I kind of gathered things from different people and come up with what I thought would work for me. But a bumping rig is very simple. It's a three-way swivel. As long as you tie it correctly and tie your bumper off of your main line, it goes to your main line, and the three-way goes back to your hook. I mean, you can run them with a float, no float. One thing I always do is make sure I have a chain swivel in there. So if my bait does start to spin, because if you're bumping, you're fishing fast water, and you want to prevent your bait from flipping and doing circles, because that's not a natural presentation. The easiest way to see what your bait's going to do is take your rod and stick it down in the water at least a foot, and you can kind of see what your bait's going to do right there. If it's already spinning in circles next to the boat, bring it in and hook your bait differently until you find a desired result that you're happy with, and then throw it. But the bumping rigs are, in my opinion, they're all pretty simple. And bumping is, you really got to just do it. There's no way to tell somebody what to do. You can give them tips. The thing I found most successful is go with somebody who knows what they're doing, and they can grade you and critique you as you're doing it and tell you if you're doing it right. When I first started bumping, I got very lucky and went fishing with Chris Souders, and I said, we went to fishing for the day. He said, "What do you want to do today? We'll fish however you want. What do you want to try?" Mm-hmm. I said, "I need you to show me bumping or watch me bump and tell me whether or not I'm doing it right." And so that's what we did. We went up and started bumping. And I caught 9 fish in a row to his 0. He said, "Yeah, you're good." It's the only time I could say that I outfished Chris Souders. And I'm pretty sure he was just taking it easy on me. I made bacon with barbecue rub it in for sandwiches this morning. Oh, man.
That was
Man, I
it.
love bacon barbecue.
With Michelle saying she wanted to talk about food, that was Mark's cue to bring up the bacon.
Makes a note, hide the bacon when and if Mark ever shows, pretend I forgot. It's his favorite. Yeah. I like bacon. I don't like it as much as Mark. It's not I like bacon, but it ain't got to be on everything. But I do. He said bacon and barbecue. Man, I absolutely love a bacon barbecue burger. Some cheddar cheese. That's good. That is good. So now that we have a different grill on the boat, I can cook different things. There's actually Becca saw us cooking on the boat, and everybody asked why the better cheddars, and I explained if we try to cook something else, that it could cause a grease fire and kill us and sink the boat. So she was pretty adamant, and she loved watching us cook on the boat, and so she actually bought the Blackstone griddle for the boat, just the small 17-inch one. That's perfect. So I've done some Philly cheesesteaks, and we've done some burgers and brat burgers, and we've done all kinds of stuff on that thing now. We had some grilled bologna and cheese sandwiches the other day, me and Justin. People were going by. It was smoking and smelling good, and they were just looking at us like, "What the heck?" Yeah, that's what's up.
Let's see, I had a question from Whiskers up there. You want to know when I was going fishing again? I went last night. I only got to stay about an hour. We caught one. It was a white one though. It's kind of neat. But tomorrow night they're giving 4 inches of snow, so I won't be fishing. I'll be doing a live panel, and there'll be a few up there on panel with me. And I was going to have a question and answer night, but after my question got answered, I don't know. But we was going to do a question and answer where people in chat ask questions. And I'll have tomorrow everybody who's going to be on panel. And it'll be tomorrow from 10 to 2.
That's a great idea. That's a lot of my goal this year is to have more engagement from chat and from subscribers. I got my dog here. She's letting me know.
Yeah. Now Roger's going to be on it for sure, and I'm going to be on it, and Brad Cadell's going to be on it. That makes the sinkers for sure. And then I'll probably get a couple more up there. So if you can be thinking of questions you might want to ask.
Cool.
And they'll be coming straight from chat.
I like it.
Mark will not be on it. He done said no. So
Mark said no?
Mark said
well, then I'm not going.
No. He done tell me earlier in the week he wasn't going to be on it anyway.
Oh.
So.
Well, good. And if you got other people that want to be on it, I'm sure people are sick of seeing my face by now. If you got other people that want to, you can come on the show. I have no problem sitting out. I can hammer questions away.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I'm getting a lot of FaceTime on here. I don't want to. I'm not staying. I can't hang that long.
Yeah.
Oh, Roger, we have a question here from Tim Molina. I hope you can answer this one.
Oh, this ought to be good. Why do Greek and Roman dudes talk like Englishmen and all those gladiator movies? That's what I want to know. Because it's cool. It just sounds cool.
There you go. That's what I always wonder when you hear Ozzy Osbourne speak, and you can't make sense out of anything the man says. And part of it's because of his accent, but part of it's because of other issues. But then I've seen him in concert, and his singing, you can hear every word he says. It's amazing what a difference his singing and his talking does.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tim, that's about as complicated as I get. I'm not sure. It just sounds cool, I guess.
Yeah.
They're just going for the effect. Yeah, Brad says get Uncle Lou.
I would
Uncle
in a
Lou,
heartbeat, but he probably won't come on.
he's hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
He's hard to get, but he's got a lot of experience fishing. I mean, he's a great angler. He does a lot for the community, but that's because he fell in love with the sport, and he fell in love with the sport because he's good at it. That guy catches fish and he knows what he's doing, and we're fortunate to have him in the community, and he puts out great products. His planer boards, you guys saw, he got nominated 2 out of 3. Almost had a clean sweep on the product of the year.
Yeah.
And the planer boards, just kind of got in the shadow of the new rods that come out this year, but they're every bit as impressive as the rod is when you compare planer boards side by side. Again, it's not because of the name on the board, but that's the performance that does it. The boards are made a little bit different and they perform a lot better. You can literally put on 2 boards side by side and watch the difference, and it's amazing.
And
but the reason he creates great products is because he's an angler himself. It's not somebody behind a desk creating products or creating stuff for the community. He's a great angler, and he knows what people want. That's why his products are good.
Yeah, I got to see his boards in action when Chris and Telly were here. We fished together out on their boat one day afternoon, and the boards. That's the first time I'd ever used them. Being a bank guy, and I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, their performance is really good. It takes very little movement to get them boards to do their job, and some other boards you really got to get moving fast. When you're in this time of year where 0.3 is about where the speed I want to go. There's a lot of boards that won't move at 0.3. They ain't gonna do anything. It's just the way it is. But his boards will. They'll do exactly what they're supposed to do. They'll work all the way up to about 1.75 miles per hour. At 1.75, they because they grab so good, they start riding a wheelie. I tried to go 2 miles an hour to see if I can use the boards to pull up on Lake Erie for walleye. And I might be able to fine tune them enough to work, add some weight to the nose of them or something like that. But they grab so good at about 175 is about as fast as I can go with them and keep them, in the water.
Yeah.
My turn.
Okay.
Catfishing with Calls will be on tomorrow night too. She's a female angler of the week.
Cool. Excellent.
And then Matt from Wanna Be Outdoors will be on also. He's a channel that he's a veteran. He's fishing. He's out there and trying to get him some help growing.
That's awesome. He's been putting out some new stuff here lately, and he's a great guy in the community too. I mean, as far as I can remember, I remember seeing his name in chat and supporting every live stream that I go to. I think he's been there, so that means a lot.
Yeah. So, anything you want to think to ask him, just start getting your questions.
See, Brad had
you be careful if you're going out working tonight in that snow.
If you drop the rod height way down, Rod. Yeah, that's something I could probably play with. Putting them at a 0 degree angle, and keeping the nose down. But I was wanting to pull a lot of boards. I've only got 4 right now, but when we go up there, we're looking to pull 6 or 8. And honestly, depending on how many people I get in the boat on Hoover, I'll pull 6 to 8 boards up there as well. Normally, I'll have Skip and Zach bring their boards if they're with me, or I'll just use. If I've got other boards, name brands on the boat. those will be the inside boards because they won't go out nearly as far. You've got to make sure the Uncle Lou's boards are the farthest ones out because they'll pass the other ones and make a mess.
Cool. Does anybody else in chat have any more questions for Roger?
I just realized the time. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I know it.
That went by fast.
It sure did. It's been a lot of fun.
It was different being on the other side of the firing panel.
Well, we didn't breeze you up too bad, did we?
Oh, no. I kept catching myself clicking on comments and chat to highlight them. Wait, I'm not the host.
Well, I had fun tonight. I learned a lot about you, and it was nice talking with you.
Yep,
good. I like these shows.
Coming up.
I like the. I really enjoyed watching these shows. I was honored that you guys asked me. Getting that personal side or a little more personal connection with the folks, not just not the overall PBs and this, that, and the other stuff.
Right.
So I think it's a job well done, and I hope you guys continue with many more. And
well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I think, what's Roger's normal bedtime? Man, it's crazy. Some nights I'm in bed at 11, and some nights I don't go to bed till 2. So I just say between 11 and 2 is my normal bedtime. I've got to get up and leave at 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's not too far away or not too bad. So I probably won't stay up too late tonight after this. Gotten cold, yeah, Valerie. Ohio is we ain't getting the snow really that a lot of the rest of the country is getting, but it's definitely getting frigid cold. We've had wind here about 22, 24 miles an hour all day, sustained.
Wow.
And it's dropping. There we go.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a storm the other night, and we had some winds pushing 20 miles an hour for a couple of hours. And you could hear the branches flying across the yard that hit the deck, but no damage or no real damage, but enough that I have a dog that can hear a beetle crawling across the asphalt. So every time something snaps, he.
I got you.
All righty.
We about ready to close?
Yeah, I don't see any more questions. Let me just scroll up just a little bit from the bottom.
Matt's taking notes. He says, I'm going to have to remember to wear underwear and socks tomorrow. I was talking catfishing, man, knows the stuff. Thanks, Dale. I appreciate that, buddy. We'll be on the water soon. Hopefully we can. You got a boat and I got a boat, so one of us get an invite and make it happen.
Let me pull up Mike's link. Brad just mentioned it, that he was.
Yeah, Mike's Fishing Home is live now, so if you just can't get enough, go check them out.
And I'll drop that link. You can just click on it.
There you go. We're going to raid over to Mike's Fishing Home. I'm not. Yep. I'm going to raid over and get this house shut down and go to bed.
Well, we appreciate you spending all this time with us. It's been a great night. We really appreciate it.
I enjoyed myself.
Well, that's great. And we hope to continue on. We try to get, as you kind of alluded to, we're trying to be a little bit different than everybody else, and it was real fun talking to you tonight, and you had a wealth of information, so it made it really fun tonight. We appreciate you.
If you don't care, give a thumbs up before you leave.
There you go. Drop that thumbs up if you guys had a good time tonight. And support Tom's channel and Jody for doing this show every Wednesday night. It's been fun. Tim says I didn't answer all of his questions or address all of his concerns. I don't know if he was talking about the movies or if he had other questions. I didn't catch him if they were. And Tim knows how to get a hold of me. I'll answer any question you got to the best of my ability.
Well, thank you, everybody, for your comment. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys again. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.